together. Brought to you by Olympic Medical Center.
At Smile Train, we understand that most children with clefts need a little extra care to help them grow healthy and strong. Visit smiletrain.org to learn how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community with lifelong smiles.
All Weather Heating and Cooling is your Mitsubishi authorized dealer. Mitsubishi electric heating and cooling systems offer efficient individual room control with allergen filtration, no ductwork, and dramatic energy savings. Mitsubishi Heating and Cooling Systems. Live better. Contact All Weather Heating and Cooling today.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. A wind advisory begins at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning and continues until 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Isolated rain showers likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 46. West winds around 5 miles per hour. Cloudy tonight. Isolated rain showers likely 37. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 40.
From ABC Sports, this is Rich Cantu. The NFL's AFC East was at stake in last night's last game of the regular season. Bills tangling with the Dolphins in Miami. Buffalo got a punt return touchdown early in the fourth quarter to tie things at 14. Later,
fires over on the right side and into the end zone for the touchdown is Dawson Knox.
The call on WGR, the Bills win 21-14 and capture the AFC East crown. They'll host the Steelers next Sunday in the playoffs. The Dolphins visit the Chiefs next Saturday. Cowboys routed the Commanders 38-10, securing the NFC East, and will host the Packers next Sunday. Jacksonville lost to the Titans 28-20, missing the playoffs after starting the season 8-3. Houston wins the AFC South and hosts the Browns on Saturday. The Rams edge the 49ers 21-20 and will head to Detroit to take on the Lions next Sunday. The Bucs secure the NFC South with a 9-0 win over the Panthers. Tampa to host the Eagles next Monday. Philly was crushed by the Giants 27-10. The Atlanta Falcons wasted no time firing head coach Arthur Smith. NBA, the T-Wolves were on the road at Dallas.
It's doubled in the middle for Powell. Right corner, Kyrie. Rise and fire. Down it goes.
The call on 97.1, the Freak. Kyrie Irving scored 35 and broke a tie with that tray. Dallas wins 115-108. The Nuggets drubbed the Pistons 131-114. Grizzlies outscored the Sun by 17 in the fourth quarter to rally for a 121-115 win. Lakers edged the Clippers 106-103, and the Cavs crushed the Kings 133-100. NHL, Caps Kings tied at 3 late third.
As Malenstein, far side, shooting, a score!
The call on WJFK, Caps win 4-3. Jets beat the Coyotes 6-2. Red Wings edge the Ducks 3-2. This is ABC Sports.
In local sports, the Peninsula Pirate men's basketball team ended its non-league schedule yesterday with a hard-fought 77-75 win over Highline in Burien. Pirate 6'3" sophomore guard Jervon Irvin out of Tacoma was on fire, hitting for 32 points, getting high praise from Pirates head coach Bryce Jacobson. S.A. Onokpoma added 21 points. The Pirates are now 7-7 on the season. They'll open up NWAC Northern Conference play at home this Wednesday against Whatcom. The women will tip off at 5 p.m., the men at 7 p.m. In high school action, the Sequim Wolves girls improved to 6-2 and 4-1 in league. They beat 8-3 Kingston 51-41. The Wolves jumped out to a 24-2 lead at the end of the first quarter. Wolves head coach Jacqueline Jolmist gave a lot of playing time to his bench players, and Kingston outscored Sequim 26-18 in the second half. Freshman Gracie Chartra led the Wolves with 18 points. Jolene Vara hit for 14. Danny Herman scored 8 points in the paint. Libby Torella scored 6 points, and Bobby Mixon had 5 points. The Wolves travel to Olympic Tuesday night to take on the Trojans. They're 2-3 in league play. A 7 p.m. tip-off, and you can hear that game here on KONP with the pregame at 6:45. Ole Archibald back, and we'll have the play-by-play for us. The Rough Rider girls blew a 15-point lead at North Kitsap, then came from behind in the final seconds to tie the game and then earn a 46-43 win in overtime. The Riders at 4-1 and 6-6 will host Kingston tomorrow night at 7. To the boys, where the Rough Rider boys at 3-2 and 7-4 now on the year played a great first half against tough North Kitsap, trailing by just 1 point at the half. The Riders ran out of gas in the second half. They lost to the Vikings 69-49. The Riders will travel to Kingston tomorrow night for a 7 p.m. tip-off. And the Sequim Wolves at 2-3 and 6-4 now on the year knocked off Kingston 58-50. The Wolves boys will host Olympic tomorrow night at 7 p.m. The national championship for college football featuring the Washington Huskies and the Michigan Wolverines on the air this afternoon. 3:30 airtime here on KONP.
Bad Boy Mowers' legendary reputation for build strength, performance, and value is now available with Bad Boy tractors. From mid-size to subcompact models, powered by 22 to 35 horsepower water-cooled diesel engines, your tractor work just got real. Easy on the farm, the ranch, or even around the house. Bad Boy tractors deliver on power and durability all day, every day.
Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales is your Bad Boy tractor dealer in Sequim.
Bad Boy tractors, work with an attitude.
Since 1955, our community has enjoyed Pepsi products right from our local bottler, Peninsula Bottling. And for decades, this product has been a part of each generation in some way. From memorable jingles to hilarious commercials and big celebrity endorsements, Pepsi was and is still part of your generation.
Pepsi belongs to your generation. Why else would Pepsi try so hard to be where you are? Everywhere.
Thanks, Peninsula Bottling, for being a part of our generation.
Let's get a check on business news next as we come up on 20 minutes after 12.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Americans were growing less fearful of inflation as 2023 drew to a close. A New York Fed study out today finds inflation expectations for the next 12 months fell to 3% in December, the lowest we've seen since January 2021. Stocks are extending their gains in the final hour, with tech shares leading the advance. Dow Industrial's up 136, the S&P up 54, the Nasdaq up 287. Artificial intelligence is coming to your personal computer. New desktop PC graphics chips unveiled by NVIDIA are expected to allow users to make use of AI without relying on remote services accessed over the internet. NVIDIA is up 5%. Merck has landed a big fish in cancer treatment. It's agreed to acquire Harpoon Therapeutics for $680 million. Harpoon is working on drugs that harness the body's immune system to fight cancer. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a check of the roads and traffic next. Brought to you this time out by Angela's Furniture and by McCrory Carpet One.
Just because the holidays are over doesn't mean the savings stop at Angela's Furniture. Right now, during the New Year event, you'll save on the Beauty Rest Black collection. Get up to $600 off select adjustable base sets. Stop in today and see for yourself why the Beauty Rest Black should be your New Year's gift to yourself. Call it a resolution to be better to your body. Get the refreshing sleep you deserve tonight on a new Beauty Rest, only at Angela's Furniture, 1114 East 1st Street.
Sensitive to dust, mold, or allergens? Breathe easier at McCrory Carpet One thanks to their Healthier Living installation system that features cleaner installation practices. Their HEPA vacuum system removes the old dust, and a Heathinex antimicrobial treatment is used before they install your new floor. If it's new carpeting in your home, they include their hypoallergenic premium cushion that inhibits the growth of mold and mildew. Best of all, there's no extra charge for this healthier install. Only at McCrory Carpet One.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
All right, up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go now. That is where John's standing by with a look at our noontime roads and traffic for us. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ty, and good afternoon, folks out there in Clallam County. No reported issues or problems in the roadways in our area. Everything's moving along at a good clip, despite the the raininess and the slickness doing its best to slow us down. The Hood Canal Bridge is open for traffic with no scheduled closures. As always, winds and strong tides do have the potential to close the bridge to traffic. Please check and make sure before you start your trip if that is going to affect your travel. There are no scheduled closures or changes, to our regular routing. Everything is running on time and regular routes. For up-to-date ferry information, go to the Wausau website for real-time up-to-date information. And then this is John at Clallam Transit for KONP.
All right, thanks, John. Currently, a lot of rain falling across the peninsula. It's 38 in Port Townsend. Out west at Forks, it's now 40. It's also 40 in Sequim and 40 in downtown Port Angeles. Out at the airport in PA, it's now 39 degrees at last check. Well, it's CES this week, the annual trade show for the tech world, kicking off in Las Vegas tomorrow. ABC's Mike Dubusky says some tech companies have already made some pretty big announcements ahead of it.
LG got ahead of the game, pulling the wraps off a lineup of OLED TVs last week. Roku, meanwhile, has unveiled a series of high-end TVs that make use of mini LED technology for better brightness and contrast. Dell is out with new XPS laptops designed to compete with Apple's MacBook Pro, and Acer is showing off a monster 57-inch curved monitor designed for gaming.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
You know, it would be hard to overemphasize the importance of rest for your brain. The same way your muscles need a chance to recover from a good workout, your brain needs a chance to repair and restore itself. The best way to do that is sleep. That's according to University College London professor Victoria Garfield. I recently spoke with her for an episode of my CNN podcast, Chasing Life. She said no matter what you think and no matter what some of your friends may tell you, you do need 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night. That's for your brain to function at optimal performance. That means setting and sticking to a consistent sleep schedule. So go to bed and get up at the same time every day. And naps, they're okay as well, as long as they're only about 20 to 30 minutes in length. If you do any more than that, you're likely going to have trouble getting a good night's sleep. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. In our nation today, there are so many people who believe they have so little to give that it's not worth even doing. Are you one of those people? I'll tell you a story after this important message.
Hello, this is Jerry and Kelly Stewart wishing you a Happy New Year. Kelly and I now have a whole new 2024 adventure that God has given to us to be part of His American group to save our nation. And the task God has given to us to spend the rest of our lives working to get our nation back to God. So what exactly are we doing? Well, we've built a new website which is full of God's true stories of our America when it was under God's leadership. Number 2, we're raising contribution ministry funds to help our fellow patriots in the getting of the strong lessons we all need to learn right now. So right now, please join our American Club by going to our website at www.jerrystewartusa.com. Also, could you please donate to our ministry to help us get out the word? Please call now, 817-995-6965. God bless you.
One big problem we have in America today is that so many Americans have quit trying to make a difference in their own city, their neighborhood, their nation, because they are convinced that what they have to give is so small. But here's the truth. So often, the big is made up of a lot of smalls, like the grains of sand making a beach, each individual brick making a skyscraper. It was Benjamin Franklin who said it best. Little strokes fell giant oaks. Folks, if we're going to save our America, each of us, every one of us, must contribute. Think about it. Pray about it. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
The
Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. The National Weather Service has issued a blizzard warning for the Cascade Mountains. The Cascades under a winter storm warning today, increasing to a blizzard warning tomorrow morning. Over 3 feet of snow could fall in the mountain passes between today and Wednesday evening with 50 to 60 mile-an-hour gusts. The National Weather Service is warning that blowing snow will make travel mostly impossible and advises travelers to stay home. It is expected to impact and most likely close all 5 main Cascade Mountain passes, including Snoqualmie. The families of a Seattle couple that was killed by the light rail train will get a $6.5 million settlement in their lawsuit against city and county transportation agencies. Aboke Rock and Stephen Wayne were on their way to a Mariner game in July of 2021 when they were hit by a southbound train at the Columbia City Station. The families sued Sound Transit, King County Metro Transit, the Seattle Department of Transportation, and the train operator. And the father of a child that overdosed on fentanyl at the Econo Lodge in Kennewick has been found after a national manhunt. Kennewick police arrested Joseph Walker at a home in Richland late last week. Members of the U.S. Marshal Task Force and the Benton County Sheriff's Office worked together on the arrest. He's the father of the child who died December 27th at that Econo Lodge. Walker was reportedly arrested without incident and booked into the Benton County Jail. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can visit our website as well, WashingtonStateNews.net.
If you're a contractor, it's now easier for you to do business with the Department of Labor and Industries. Go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line and make an appointment with us ahead of time. No waiting around, no wasted time away from your job site. You get in, get out, and get on your way. Easy. So contractors, just go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line to make an appointment and get back to doing what you do best.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. It's still not clear whether Republicans will succeed in winning new border concessions from the White House. Correspondent Bob Agnew with that report.
GOP Senator James Lankford says he and other negotiators hope to release a text this week summing up their efforts at a compromise. He admits coming up with a bill that can pass remains a long shot, considering it has to pass muster with a Democrat-controlled Senate, a Democrat president, and a Republican-controlled House. Conservative House lawmakers are still demanding inclusion of H.R. 2, their border control bill that passed the chamber with no Democrat support back in May. Bob Agnew reporting.
Also at townhall.com, the White House says it will review Defense Secretary Austin's failure to disclose his hospitalization to President Biden and other top officials. White House correspondent Greg Cluxton with that report.
The Pentagon chief was in the hospital for several days before the White House and military officials were notified. And National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says there will be a review.
We'll take a look at process and procedure here.
Kirby says President Biden respects the fact that Secretary Austin took ownership for the lack of transparency and that the secretary continues to have the president's confidence. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And the first noon moon landing in more than 50 years is in trouble. That's after a private company's newly launched spacecraft developed engine issues. Astrobotic technology has oriented its lander toward the sun so the solar panel can collect sunlight as its battery power had dwindled. Wall Street has moved higher now. The Dow is ahead 152 points. The NASDAQ is adding 290. More at townhall.com.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-320-7171. That's 800-320-7171. 800-320-7171.
Medics, patients, and displaced people fleeing from the main hospital in central Gaza as the fighting between Israeli forces and Palestinian terrorists draws closer.
The loss of Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital would deal another major blow to a health system already shattered by 3 months of war. Aid groups have withdrawn from the hospital in recent days, saying it's just too dangerous. The Gaza Health Ministry says over 70 bodies and around 100 wounded were brought to the hospital in just the last 24-hour period. Israel says the fighting will continue for many more months as the army seeks to dismantle Hamas and return scores of hostages. I'm Charles.
In Australia, hundreds of people ordered to evacuate their homes on Monday after parts of Victoria State were inundated by flooding as wild weather continues to batter that country's southeast. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. The Supreme Court rejects Alaska's bid to revive a proposed copper and gold mine in the state's Bristol Bay region. It had been blocked by the EPA. There had been concerns with potential impacts on the aquatic ecosystem that supports the world's largest sockeye salmon fishery. Another jaguar sighting in southern Arizona.
Authorities say a wildlife expert was videotaping in a mountainous region near Tucson in late December and captured the image of a roaming jaguar. Now, the Arizona Game and Fish Department says it has now authenticated Jason Miller's footage and has confirmed this is a new jag to the United States, the 8th one documented since 1996. The big cats were placed on the endangered species list in 1997. Jason Walker reporting.
More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
John Ort live from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Monday, January 8th. The National Weather Service has issued a blizzard warning for the mountains in Washington as several feet of snow and gusty winds are expected. Forecasters have put winter storm watches in the Olympics and Cascades for elevations over 2,000 feet. 3 feet of new snow forecasted through the next day or so, but that's being accompanied by wind gusts of up to 55 miles per hour. Travel will be treacherous in the mountain passes, especially tomorrow. That's when the National Weather Service says to prepare for blizzard-like conditions, a somewhat rarity in western Washington. The warning is in place from 4 tomorrow morning until 10 Wednesday morning. Now, those high winds will hit us in the lowlands, too. The National Weather Service has a high wind advisory up from 4 tomorrow morning through 10 p.m. Tuesday. Expect west winds through the Strait of Juan de Fuca gusting to 50 miles an hour here. Then we will see a blast of cold air moving in. Temperatures by the end of the week expected to dip into the 20s. There's a chance of a couple of inches of snow in our area Thursday night. Again, another hit of possible snow on Saturday. Weather models are continuing to change, so forecasters are still uncertain about potential amounts of snow. But we are expecting a Fraser River outflow event to set up by Thursday and Friday, and that can spell a straight effect snow for our area. That's when cold air blows over the warmer Strait of Juan de Fuca, causing evaporation. Those evaporated clouds stack up on the north side of the peninsula, and that brings higher snowfall totals than other areas in western Washington. Again, stay tuned. We're continuing to follow as this develops through the week. Now with a look at some things that happened over the past few days, here's Sandy Keys and his weekend wrap-up.
The weekend's traffic accident count will be good news to local auto body shops, but not for the first reason that comes to mind. The low number of 7 will help a little bit to clear a big backlog of damaged cars awaiting repair. Weekend accident report showed 5 crashes in Greater Port Angeles, none in Sequim, but the last 3 were in Forks, 2 near midnight Saturday, and the third 2:22 yesterday morning. The most frequent request over the weekend to telephone to law enforcers involves citizen requests for assistance, 16, probably the highest number ever. 8 of those originated in La Push. 5 more in Greater Port Angeles, 2 in Sequim, 1 in Forks. Over the weekend, there were 2 known attempted or threatened suicides, 1 in Port Angeles Friday morning, the other Saturday afternoon in Greater Sequim. We did get along pretty well with each other, however, over the weekend. Only 5 harassments, 1 assault in Forks, 6:10 Saturday evening, the other about the same time in Port Angeles the evening before. Just 6 thefts between Sequim and Port Angeles, plus a burglary reported in the 700 block of South Chase at 6 o'clock Saturday night. Vehicle prowls were observed along 101 in Sequim, Dungeness Meadows Sequim, and Skyline Drive, Port Angeles. Among the other duties, law enforcers completed more than 22 traffic stops, just a fraction of the New Year's Eve number, 16 building checks, 8 welfare checks, and 5 bar checks. They also completed 2 death investigations in Port Angeles, 9 o'clock Saturday morning and about 8 o'clock that evening. And finally, we had a variety of 9 disturbances. They were at West First, Port Angeles, Olympic Medical Center, Stratton Road, and Blue Mountain Road. None in Forks, 1 in Sequim, and 1 at Happy Valley Road. And that need not besmirch the happy name. Some disturbances are generated by happy events, but not many. Sandy Keys, Radio Pacific Local News.
In other news, lawmakers in our state returned to Olympia today to address housing, climate change, and the fentanyl crisis in an abbreviated legislative session that marks Governor Jay Inslee's final term as governor, his final year. During a session preview this past week, the Democratic governor described climate as the biggest long-term issue he wants to see addressed in the session. Majority Democrats will also be playing defense. A conservative group has submitted hundreds of thousands of signatures in support of initiatives that threaten some of their biggest recent wins, including the One-Year Climate Commitment Act, a landmark policy that created a cap and invest system for carbon emissions. Here are some other key proposals that will also be considered after a 2023 legislative session filled with proposals to address the housing crisis. Lawmakers are once again facing off against staggeringly high home and rental prices. One bill would require that 10% of the units in new housing around transit hubs must be affordable for low-income residents. Another would focus on rent stabilization, barring landlords from increasing rent by more than 5% annually during a rental agreement term. As for overdose deaths, as they rise in Washington state, some lawmakers are doubling down on the fight against fentanyl by proposing legislation that would increase access to opioid overdose reversal medications and education. And one bill would require all school districts make naloxone available in high schools instead of only districts with at least 2,000 students. Another proposal would help bring information about fentanyl into the K-12 public school system. This is News Radio KONP.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
Do you know when your septic system was last inspected? Clallam County Environmental Health keeps those records and can tell you. Pumping your septic and complete septic inspections by licensed professionals are 2 very different things. State law requires inspections every 1 to 3 years, depending on the system you have. Get more information about your septic system and inspection requirements by calling Clallam County Environmental Health 360-417-2258 or by logging on to clallam.net/septic.
When purchasing a home or land, nobody wants to inherit existing debts or legal issues that could interfere with their property rights in the future. That's why it's important to work with local title insurance professionals and protect your rights with owner's title insurance. Olympic Peninsula Title has been protecting the property rights of Clallam County customers for 35 years. Put our team of professionals to work for you. For title insurance, contract collections, and escrow services, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people. ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
All right, let's get into that weather forecast. A wind advisory is in effect from 4 tomorrow morning till 10 p.m. on Tuesday. As for the rest of today, rain through the afternoon. Going to be snow above 1,500 feet, but no significant accumulation expected. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 40s today. Tonight, rain likely, and then some snow developing as we head towards morning, but no significant accumulation in the lowlands expected. Look for your lows to be in the mid to upper 30s overnight. Southeast winds to 15 miles per hour, switching to west 20 miles per hour, gusting to 30 after midnight. Now, the big winds come tomorrow. Windy, rainy, and some snow mixed in as well on Tuesday. Highs Tuesday in the 40s. We're going to see southwest winds at 30 miles per hour, switching to west, gusting to 45 miles per hour in the afternoon. The windy conditions continue into Tuesday night with cloudy skies, rain, and snow. Mostly cloudy by late, though, after midnight. Snow level at about 1,000 feet. Lows will be in the low to mid-30s with west winds gusting to 45 miles per hour Tuesday night. Those will be decreasing just a bit after midnight, but still pretty brisk well into the morning. Wednesday, cloudy. A chance of rain mixed with a few snowflakes. Snow level of 1,500 feet. Highs in the upper 30s to mid-40s. Cloudy and a chance of rain or snow with a snow level of 1,000 feet Wednesday night with your lows near 30. Then Thursday, cloudy, rain and snow. A snow level gets down to 300 feet. Highs only reaching the mid-30s on Thursday. Cloudy and some snow developing Thursday night. Look for lows, get this, Thursday night, 13 to 15 degrees. A partly sunny Friday with a chance of snow. Highs only reaching the mid-20s. Cloudy and some snow at times Friday night. Snow level right at sea level. Lows on Friday night down to 14 degrees. Saturday, cloudy. Chance of rain mixed with snow. The snow level near the surface again. Highs in the lower 30s Saturday. Saturday night, clouds and some rain and snow mix. Snow level rises just a bit to 1,000 feet. Lows in the lower 20s. Sunday, cloudy. A chance of rain and snow. And highs will be in the mid-30s. So the real winter is going to start rolling in with winds beginning tomorrow night. And then cold, cold, cold and snow on the way as we head Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday. Looking ahead.
Welcome to Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood at PA Realty. This is Alan Barnard, and this Volunteer Spotlight shines once again on 4PA, a nonprofit group dedicated to cleaning up the city of Port Angeles. Their new facility, called the Touchstone Campus, is an all-in-one operation center for their cleaning operation, offices, and a 1/2-acre green space area for temporary housing shelters with 24/7 access to bathrooms, showers, laundry, and kitchen. Also planned are retail and manufacturing businesses to provide training and work for campus residents. The goal is a safe place to learn life skills to help individuals transition to self-sustainability. 4PA needs more volunteers to further this important work. To volunteer, their website is 4pa.org. That's the numeral 4, then pa.org. This Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood, PA Realty.
Here's a look at what's happening. The Sequim Arts Commission planning to offer quarterly workshops to the public on subjects related to the visual and performing arts this coming year. They're seeking applications from individuals who'd be interested in presenting at the workshops. If you'd like to apply, you can fill out an application form through the Sequim's city website or contact the arts coordinator, Sarah Hurt. Drop her an email at shurt@sequimwa.gov. shurt@sequimwa.gov. The history of skiing in Olympic National Park. Dr. Roger Oakes, founder of the Hurricane Ridge Winter Sports Club, will be talking about that at the Olympic National Park Perspective Series. That's going to be tomorrow evening from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. in the Carver Room at Port Angeles Library. Loretta Downs, an end-of-life specialist, the slated speaker for Volunteer Hospice of Clallam County's first Soul Care Speaker of 2024. The event on Wednesday from noon to 1:30 p.m. online. Registration is required. Downs' presentation talking about death won't kill you, how to have that conversation. Contact Volunteer Hospice at 360-452-1511 to register and get the login information. It is free and open to the public. Seroptimus International Clubs of Clallam County and Peninsula College partnering to offer a program featuring Special Agent Laura Marroquin to raise awareness on human trafficking. It will be part of Studium General's first winter quarter talk this Thursday, 12:30 p.m. This is free and open to the public. Clallam County Genealogical Society is beginning its Speaker Series this Saturday, 10/10. Beth Schwartz will present a lecture on DNA. She specialized in help solving unknown parent-family connections through DNA and building and researching family trees. For information, you can contact the Genealogical Society at 417-5000. And that's a look at what's happening.
The health and strength of a business economy can be measured by the effectiveness of its local Chamber of Commerce. Here on the North Olympic Peninsula, more than 420 business owners join the Port Angeles Chamber of Commerce to support each other and help maintain a strong and resilient network.
Your local chamber works hard every day on projects, initiatives, and advocacy to support our local economy, local business growth, and community pride. We produce events and programs that support the community, including the annual Community Awards, the Clallam Opportunity Investment Network, the Port Angeles Maritime Festival, Clallam County Job Fairs, the 4th of July Celebration and Parade Ride the Hurricane, the Winter Ice Village, and many other programs.
If you own a business and you're not already a member of the Chamber, consider supporting the economic community that supports your business by joining the Port Angeles Chamber of Commerce.
Joining is relatively easy, inexpensive, and your membership does make a difference.
Learn more on our website, portangeles.org.
That's portangeles.org.
Last check of business news and the market numbers before Wall Street wraps for the day. Next.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Minutes to go ahead of the closing bell on Wall Street, and after a rough first week of the new year, stocks today on track to notch big gains thanks to a rally in tech and ahead of a new earnings season that starts on Friday. Right now, it's got the Dow up 0.4%, the tech-heavy NASDAQ up more than 2%, and the S&P 500 more than 1% higher. Boeing, a big drag on the Dow today. Those shares down almost 9% after a fuselage panel blew off a brand-new 737 MAX 9 jet on Friday mid-flight. Shares of Apple, though, up more than 2% after announcing it'll release its long-awaited $3,500 Vision Pro mixed reality headset on February 2nd. It's going to begin pre-orders next week. And artificial intelligence helping eliminate jobs at Duolingo. The maker of language learning software is cutting 10% of its contract interpreters, replacing them with tools that'll check translations and make more content. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Last check of the noontime traffic is next, brought to you this time out by Olympic Medical Center and Leeds Farm Supply.
Exciting news to keep you on your feet. 2 new podiatrists have discovered Olympic Medical Center and have joined our team. Ready to elevate your access to foot health care, Dr. Olga Dromiertsky and Dr. Jared Davis have joined the team alongside Dr. Adam Kilpack. Whether it's pain, sports injuries, diabetes, or general foot wellness, the OMC Podiatry team has you covered. Discover your next steps towards foot health at olympicmedical.org/podiatry.
Bad Boy tractors are born from the legendary Bad Boy mowers. From 20 to 35 horsepower, subcompact to midsize, Bad Boy combines power, performance, comfort, and as always, build strength to deliver the workhorse dependability you need to get the job done and done right. Homeowner, landscaper, or rancher, there's a Bad Boy tractor for you to work with an attitude.
Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales is your Bad Boy tractor dealer in Sequim. Call 360-452-1400 to learn more.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
Right up to Clallam Transit Dispatch. Then we go one last time. That's where I almost called you Steve, John. John is standing by for us today. Boy, bad habits. How are we doing out there, John?
Yeah, I've been called worse. We've been doing pretty good. Hello, folks. So traffic is going pretty good right now, as good as it can with it being rainy and dark right now. Just be careful out there. You know, things are getting slick. So keep your following distance, have some patience. Roads are looking pretty good. No issues reported. We still have the construction out by Swim Bay Lodge. You're going to hear that every time until they're finished. Hood Canal Bridge is open for traffic. No scheduled closures. Of course, winds and tides can change that. Just make sure that you check if you're time-sensitive traveling. All of our buses are on regular routing. For up-to-the-date fare information, please visit the WSDOT website for real-time, up-to-date information at your fingertips. This is John, live at Clown Transit for KONP.
Thank you, John. No afternoon reports because we have Husky football. 3:30 airtime here this afternoon on KONP. They'll kick off about 4:30 for the national championship. And the game you'll hear here on KONP this afternoon. Coming up next hour, we're going to talk, we got a wide range of things to chat about. In the first half of the program, we're going to spend the first segment talking about the old-time fiddle music, the Washington old-time fiddlers, kind of what they're all about, and preserving a piece of Americana, to say the least. And then I also sat down to talk with National Weather Service meteorologist Brandon Cook, who's over at Seattle. We're going to get the latest on what's happening with this big winter storm. He's going to give you a little bit more of a specific breakdown on what we can expect here on the North Olympic Peninsula. That'll be coming up in about 20 minutes after the hour next hour here on KONP. Well, cutting in line is just bad etiquette. But because we live in a mostly civilized society, it's quite possibly that a line cutter can get away with it. Unless you're messing with our food. Yep, in a survey of about 3,000 travelers, 43% said they would take action if someone cut in line in the flight boarding line. I'm guessing there's no point in getting upset since it's not like the line cutter's going to take off any earlier than you are. But do not cut into the buffet line. More than 60% of travelers said they would get uptight and upset, maybe even go after someone if someone jumped the line there. And now you know. Moviegoers with a sweet tooth helping a movie about a famous chocolatier top the weekend box office. ABC's Mark Remillard reports.
For the third time in 4 weekends, Timothée Chalamet and Wonka topped the box office charts.
You see, I'm something of a magician, inventor, and chocolate maker.
The family-oriented musical added $14.4 million in ticket sales, according to studio estimates Sunday, bringing its domestic gross to more than $164 million. Coming in second at the box office with $12 million was horror film Night Swim, the only major new offering in theaters, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom rounded out the top 3 with $10.6 million. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
Oppenheimer, the big winner at the Golden Globes last night. So how was the overall show? ABC's Jason Nathanson with more on that.
Comedian Joe Coy hosted for the first time.
My New Year's resolution for 2024 is to finish Oppenheimer in 2025.
But when A Joke or Two fell flat, he got a little defensive.
Yo, I got the gig 10 days ago. You want a perfect monologue? Yo, shut up.
This was the first Golden Globe since the group that started it, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, was dissolved last year amid scandal, in the show's first year on CBS. The early reviews range from awkward and rushed to Vanity Fair calling it a near-total disaster. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Beverly Hills.
Car thieves are going high-tech all throughout the country. Instead of just picking out a car to break into at random, they're scanning cars looking for a certain wireless standard that tells them that there's expensive tech inside. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by ExpressVPN. Secure your online data and get an extra 3 months free at expressvpn.com/Kim. Most of our electronics, from phones, AirPods, laptops, tablets to headphones, all work with Bluetooth. That's the wireless signal that lets you go hands-free. It spreads from 3 to 33 feet from the device when activated. Car thieves know this, and they're using smartphone apps or $30 Bluetooth signal finders available on Amazon to scan cars admitting any Bluetooth signals. This way, even before breaking into a car, they know if there are expensive phones, laptops, tablets, earbuds, you name it, locked inside. So here's what you need to do to not become their next victim. Keep all your electronics with you, or at least be sure to turn them off. And get tech smart every single day with my free newsletter at getkim.com. As we wrap up the year and usher in the next, it's a perfect time to reflect on what truly matters, the people we love most. This year, resolve to keep them safer than ever with Simply Safe Home Security. I trust Simply Safe in my own home, and I recommend it to everybody. Simply Safe is comprehensive protection for the whole home with advanced sensors that not only detect break-ins, but fires, floods, and other threats to your home. With new 24/7 LiveGuard protection, monitoring agents can see, speak to, and confront intruders inside your home. Available only from SimpliSafe, allowing agents to stop crime in real time. And SimpliSafe's 24/7 monitoring costs less than $1 a day. That's half the price of traditional home security. So do what I do. Keep your home and family safer than ever in the brand new year. And here's the deal. Save 20% on your new system with a Fast Protect plan by visiting simplysafekim.com. You can customize your system in just a few minutes at simplysafekim.com. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. That's simplysafekim.com.
New research is showing how sleep can impact blood pressure and excess weight gain in teens. We'll talk more after this.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
A study published in the journal Hypertension looked at sleep and visceral adipose tissue, or so-called belly fat, and blood pressure amongst adolescents. The study looked at about 300 teenagers, tracked their sleep, measured their blood pressure and their belly fat for 7 nights. They found that delayed or irregular sleep patterns actually had a negative effect. Specifically, the link between excess weight and higher blood pressure in teens was stronger among those who had irregular sleep patterns. It's important to connect the dots on issues of sleep, weight, and heart disease. So it is important to consider it on par with diet and fitness with respect to our health and wellness. With Your Body, I'm ABC's Dr. Jennifer Ashton.
Online at myclallamcounty.com. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. We're learning more about who knew what when about the ongoing hospitalization of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and why it has some people calling for his firing.
The Pentagon's top uniformed spokesman now says he was made aware of Lloyd Austin's hospitalization last Tuesday, but the news remained a secret and wasn't shared with the president or his aides until last Thursday, and only after the deputy defense secretary was finally told that Austin was in intensive care. The Pentagon says Austin is now out of the ICU, but still experiencing discomfort. Officials have still not named the elective procedure he sought, nor have they detailed the complications that he suffered.
ABC Stephen Portnoy in Washington. President Biden on the campaign trail in South Carolina. He brought up a recent comment by his predecessor and possible opponent this November, former President Trump.
Let me be clear, for those who don't seem to know, slavery was the cause of the Civil War. There's no negotiation about that.
Mr. Biden at Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston. A man who attacked a Nevada judge last week was back in court today.
Appearing in court for the first time since his attack on Judge Mary Kay Holthus, 30-year-old Deobra Redden was surrounded by police. He had on shackles, a spit mask, and gloves to prevent him from scratching. He smiled at somebody in the gallery. Judge Holthus, back on the bench, handed down her sentence.
19 to 48 months.
Up to 2 years in prison for a baseball bat attack on a victim last year. A different court will separately handle Redden's attack on Judge Holthus. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel, where he says he will push officials to minimize casualties in the war with Hamas. Hamas, meanwhile, claims it thwarted an Israeli military attempt to rescue a hostage. At the close, the Dow was up 216 points. You're listening to ABC News.
It seems like everywhere you look right now, someone is sick.
This year, prepare your family for airborne invaders like bacteria, pollen, and yes, germs with Navage Nasal Care. Navage flushes ultra-pure, refreshing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. Navage sucks out viruses, dust, and other airborne particles, all the stuff that gets trapped in your nose making you miserable. Don't get caught empty-handed this winter. Get Navage, the drug-free solution that helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Even better, Navage is HSA, FSA eligible, so Navage is a great way to spend those funds before they expire. Don't wait a minute longer. Buy Navage today and you'll breathe easier knowing you're putting your funds to good use. Navage is available online at Navage.com or Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
At Cape Canaveral today, the launch of the first U.S. moon lander since 1972, but NASA is now saying that the robot spacecraft may not make it to the moon. It says that it's exhibiting propulsion problems, that it's got to figure out what's going on there, and that those problems could threaten the lander's ability to make a soft touchdown, which is essential to the landing. The National Rifle Association on trial in New York for civil corruption. The state accusing the NRA of lining the pockets of top leadership, including longtime CEO Wayne LaPierre, who's stepping down. Worrisome new numbers on the flu, COVID, and RSV.
The CDC says respiratory illness is either elevated or increasing across most areas of the country, with 38 states plus New York City seeing high or very high levels. That's up from 31 states last week. And flu hospitalizations continue to increase, up 35%, with some 10 million cases, 110,000 hospitalizations, and 6,500 flu-related deaths so far this season. Hardest hit by the flu, older adults over 65. The CDC estimates flu infections are growing or likely growing in 47 states. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Tonight in Houston, the college football championship game, Michigan and Washington do battle. The teams are both undefeated going in. Only one will end that way. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Enjoy all the colors of the season. Your enjoyment starts now with help from Airport Garden Center. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The Matthews family are still loving storekeepers to this day. Their family is dedicated to providing your family quality service and products for a fun, rewarding pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Are you looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items such as Full Moon candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted soap and Miss B apiary honey. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials or just stop by. They love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate Outstanding Agents. Outstanding results, 457-6600. Lots of weather coming our way. The National Weather Service issuing a blizzard warning for the mountains in Washington. That goes up through Wednesday. And a high wind warning is up in the lowlands, too. That goes up from tomorrow morning through 10 p.m. Tuesday. Expect winds gusting to 50 miles an hour along the Strait of Juan de Fuca. We also have a blast of cold air moving in. Temperatures by the end of the week expected to dip into the 20s and a chance at a couple of inches of snow at least coming our way Thursday and maybe into Saturday as well.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. A wind advisory begins at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. A coastal flood advisory begins at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. Overcast this afternoon with isolated rain showers likely. High of 46, winds out of the southwest, around 5 miles per hour. Cloudy again tonight, isolated rain showers likely, 37. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 41 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
I got lots to cover today on the program, and a little later on, I'm going to be talking with a meteorologist from the National Weather Service about what this winter storm is looking like specifically here for the North Olympic Peninsula over the next few days. But before we get to that, my pleasure to have Tim Cullinan join us. He is with the Washington Old Time Fiddlers, and I was just remarking it's been a long time since we've even talked about this group. They actually have an event coming up this weekend too. But first of all, I think, Tim, thanks for coming down first, and let's talk a bit about kind of what where the Washington Old Time Fiddlers, how did it get started? Tell us a bit about just that group. Then we'll talk about what your mission is somewhere.
Sure, thank you. Yeah. Washington Old Time Fiddlers got started about the middle of the 1960s, and it was made up of a group of people mostly from eastern Washington who had grown up in the 1920s or earlier. They had learned how to play those old-time dance tunes, those old country dance tunes, when they were just kids. And as they got older and as the music industry changed and community events changed, and they started thinking, well, if we don't do something to preserve this art, it may just fade away. Mm-hmm. And so they got together, they chartered this organization, they got it registered with the Secretary of State's office, and they started out with about 15 members, and they've gone up as high as 1,500 members since then. And so that's how they got their start. And there are now, it's a statewide organization, and we have 14 local chapters that you are usually set up along county lines. So our local chapter here, well, we call them districts. Our local district is made up of Clallam and Jefferson counties.
How many locally are involved right now, would you say?
I would say probably about 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a significant number, I think.
Yeah. At one time, this district had the largest membership of all the districts in the state. I mean, we even outnumbered the King County and Snohomish County, and I'm not sure if that's still the case, but we're pretty close.
Okay, yeah. So I suspect that there must be a lot of fiddlers that just happen to live here, maybe retired here. Is that kind of what drives that, perhaps?
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think that just a lot of those the early founding members and the part of that early membership, a lot of them did end up here, mostly because they wanted to move to Sequim, or they wanted to move to some place that, where we have mild weather, and so they ended up here. And I'm always astonished at there are so many good musicians, and I mean, Port Angeles is really defined by its music. There are just so many things about this area that you find these great musicians just hiding away out there.
They just kind of pop out of the woodwork one day, right?
Yeah. They just show up and you go, oh my gosh, here's a guy that used to play with Pete Seeger in Greenwich Village, and he's living in Port Angeles now, and so, yeah.
Which also makes it kind of fun because of that. Not only are you preserving this music, but I mean, you get a chance to rub elbows with some people that have done some significant things in their time.
Yeah.
The Old Time Fiddlers, not everybody's a fiddler in this group, though.
Right.
We should probably point out. I mean, you have other players that join too.
Yeah, the name Old Time Fiddlers is a little misleading. If you come to one of our events, you're not just going to see a group of people sitting around playing fiddles. It's going to be the music of an old time country dance band, contra dancing and square dancing, like something out of the late 19th century. You're going to have guitars and mandolins and a bass and maybe a banjo or concertina or something else like that thrown in. But it's the organization was established not to single out fiddle music, but just those old time dance tunes and that old time dance music, which is fairly diverse here in Washington State. It's unlike most other areas in the country because it has been influenced by so many different ethnic groups that have migrated to Washington over the last 150 years or so. And, Washington is kind of like the terminus of all these great migration routes as people moved west. And so we have this broad variety of different genres of music that have all kind of coalesced in what we today call, fiddle music. The Scottish and the French fur traders first brought this dance music to the state. Later, there was a lot of Scandinavian influence. I mean, when the Great Northern Railway was being built, the railroads went as far away as Norway and Sweden to recruit labor to come and lay the tracks. And those people brought their music with them. We have influences from Canada, mostly Irish and Scottish, but mixed in with a little French and a little First Nations tribes who had their own musical traditions. And those things all melded together. And that has greatly influenced Washington's music because so many people came from the northern Great Plains during the 20s, 30s, and then especially during the post-World War II industrial expansion. A lot of those people migrated here, brought their music with them. Some of our influence comes from the Southeast, tinged with a little bit of African influence via Missouri, and then a lot of Missouri people from the Ozarks. There was a lot of migration from the Ozarks into Washington like during the Depression era. And so we're in kind of this sweet spot in North America that we have all these different influences in our music.
With that said, how do you hand down the music? Is this because some of this, quite frankly, I think people they learn by ear. They taught each other by just getting together and playing. And I know that's part of the tradition here. But in order to help preserve this, how do you go about that?
Well, we have our bi-monthly jams,
right? Which we'll talk about in a moment.
which we can talk about in a moment. Traditionally, the way people learned, and the way a lot of those founding members of the organization learned, was just their parents would take them to somebody's barn dance in their community, or a lot of times they just get a bunch of the people in the neighborhood together and just play music in somebody's kitchen or somebody's living room. And before there was television, before there was radio, before there were there was phonographs and that. Right. That was their entertainment, and that's how the kids learned, was just being around the adults. And a lot of times they would just give a 4-year-old kid a couple of sticks and let them imitate pretend they were fiddling, and by the time they got to be 6, 7 years old, they had already heard these tunes 100 times, and it was easy for them to pick them up. Well, nobody has time to do that in our modern world, so we have a lot of shortcuts now. We have printed sheet music, we have recorded music, and a lot of publications that combine those two, and like things that are, and the Old Time Fiddlers Association publishes a few.
Right, you've got a book basically,
like
right?
That, where they'll take some fiddle tunes that are popular in the Northwest. They'll give you the sheet music, give you include a CD, and you can learn. You can learn on your own, but those kind of shortcuts that we take now because, it's like who has the time anymore to learn by ear? But some people still do it, and there are a lot of people in the group that have learned to play by ear, or if they, or they just use that crutch of the printed music just to get them started. And once they've got it memorized, then they don't have to look at the sheet music anymore. So,
which leads us to what's happening on Saturday. This is open to the public, so if people want to come in and experience this, whether you're a fiddle player or not, this is a great chance to absorb a type of music that you quite frankly don't get to see all the time or hear all the time, and it's something else when you hear it live. So tell us what's happening on Saturday.
So this coming Saturday is going to be one of our jams. We do these jams twice a month, once on the second Saturday in Sequim and on the fourth Saturday in Chimicum, except for summer months. We take a break in the summer. But this one will be at St. Luke's Episcopal Church in the parish hall around back. Doors will open at 10. People will go in and get tuned up, and the music probably start 10 or 15 minutes after that. And then we usually we'll be winding down around 2 o'clock or so.
And do you just have groups of folks? I mean, you just kind of rotate through different ensembles? How does that work?
Well, some people, no. These are not performances. They're just...
But people just hop up and start playing with each other, correct?
Mostly what we'll do is we'll sit in a circle, and then just people take turns going around the circle calling a tune. They'll say, they'll pick their favorite tune. They'll say, okay, let's play this one. And somebody will start it, and we'll play through it 3 or 4 times, and then and then it'll move on to the next person's turn.
It's a pure jam. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it is, and it's usually just people, if you have a mandolin, you play along. If you have a guitar, you play along. It's not limited to fiddles. It's the only rules we have is no electric instruments.
Got to be acoustic, right?
It's acoustic instruments, and but people have shown up with dulcimers and auto harps and accordions and concertinas but it's mostly wooden stringed instruments, and you don't have to have any particular skill level. People are very open to having beginners there. If you want to lead a tune and you're just not that good at it, it's okay. Everybody will slow
back a little bit.
Everybody will slow down for you and encourage you and give you lots of encouragement. And it's a very welcoming group. And
you have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we have a lot of fun. And you don't need to be a member to come and sit in the jam circle.
Okay.
You don't need to be a member to come and just listen if you want to.
But I bet a lot of people who do that eventually become members.
They eventually
quite quickly.
become members. And we'll, we usually will make some announcement saying, well, if you want to be a member, here's what you do. Right. But it's open to the public.
All right. Yeah. And that'll be at St. Luke's Episcopal Church Saturday, 10 a.m.-ish until about 2-ish. That's kind of how these things roll. I think it's great what you guys are doing and preserving, some music that, quite frankly, is, if you aren't doing this stuff, I don't think it gets saved quite like it does. I mean, in certain capacity, but not like it is now. So, Tim, good luck, and have some fun on Saturday, all right?
Okay,
we're going to get you back. I won't wait decades and decades to talk about this stuff again, all right?
Okay, great.
I promise.
Great.
That's Tim Cullinan there. He is with the Washington Old Time Fiddlers and the local district here that represents Clallam and Jefferson counties. A little bit about preserving some great old-time music, and your chance again is Saturday, 10 a.m. at St. Luke's Episcopal Church. If you'd like, just sit in and kind of check out the jam and hear some of the stuff. You're certainly invited to be there. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk about the weather when we come back after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
When a guest enters your home, chances are the first thing they see is your flooring. And what an impression that can make if it's in poor shape. At TJ's Flooring, they hear a similar comment from customers shopping for new flooring. There's just something about a new floor. It's not just a look, it's a feeling. And if I feel it, so does anyone entering my home. Well, at TJ's, they totally agree. That's why Tom and his team carry such a wide line of hardwood, laminate flooring, and carpet. Deep, rich, dark wood, light, sunny blonde colors, plush, indoor, luxurious, and cozy feeling, or a more rugged, tough outdoor carpeting. Hundreds of choices in every price range. The top-of-the-line brands are worth every penny, but the lower-priced ones will last a long time with the right install and the right care instructions. TJ's can provide both. When it comes to value and customer satisfaction, TJ's is second to none. Stop by today and see for yourself. TJ's Flooring on Highway 101 and Monroe Road. 360-670-5188.
When shopping for building supplies, lumber, home goods, or hardware items, are you traveling to one of those big box stores? When you wander those big box store aisles, how's that customer service? Absent? Possibly lacking in knowledge?
I don't know.
At Angelus Millwork and Hartnaggles, we have 2 convenient Port Angeles locations, and each one is far from the big box store experience.
Yay!
Since our stores are employee-owned, each one of us has a vested interest in how we serve and treat our customers. You won't find us hiding in the back aisle or turning the other way when you make eye contact for help.
They can't see me if I can't see them.
We're excited to share our day with you while making sure we set the bar high for what true customer service is all about. So if you're looking for a hometown building supply store that treats their customers like next-door neighbors, has deep knowledge on building products while continually supporting the local community, then avoid those trips out of town and come see us today. Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
At Foghorn Olive Oil, we've got a lot more to offer. In addition to our olive oils and balsamic vinegars, we've added a fantastic selection of Washington State wines and beers, as well as fabulous salads, delicious paninis, and delectable dips. Join us where great flavors and good times come together. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 12 to 4, and Thursdays through Saturdays, 12 to 7. Foghorn Olive Oil and Wine Bar, where great flavors and good times come together.
Weather on the horizon, and lots of it to talk about. I thought we'd spend a segment talking with a meteorologist over at the National Weather Service bureaus in Seattle. Kirby Cook, who we've had on the show in the past, joins us. Kirby, thank you for coming on. First, talk about what you're seeing right now. I mean, we have kind of this interesting blizzard warning, for example, that you don't hear much about in Western Washington, but we have that right now to take a look at. So let's just talk about that, and then we'll get into some more specific things about the lowlands, especially on the North Peninsula. But maybe you can explain for folks kind of the criteria for what is a blizzard warning.
Well, to boil it down in the simplest terms, it's snowfall with a lot of wind, and that's what we're expecting. Again, really, it's up in the higher elevations where we're getting snow. We're going to have wind in a lot of places over the next 24 hours, but for the blizzard conditions, it's going to be where we have wind and snow, and that can add. It's one thing to have one of the other, but when you have them both together, it can add to the impacts associated with that. Which is why it's a bit of a rarity, I think, here in our part of the world. We usually get one or the other, even though it's the middle of winter. We actually have not a lot of wind when we have snow and a lot of wind when we don't have snow. That's right. So we're looking at, anytime we have, again, significant snowfall and winds or frequent gusts that are greater than 35 miles an hour, which we're expecting in the mountains. Okay, so probably best to hold off. What's the period, the window now on this, the latest advisement? If somebody had to travel, when should they not be traveling? That's a good question. So in general, we're expecting a storm system to come in basically overnight through tomorrow. We've already got some precipitation, but we're looking at the strongest winds late tonight into Tuesday. And so I would say, travel in the mountains, especially if you're going over the passes, or I definitely would not plan any kind of recreational activities in the mountains at this point over the next 24 hours. But the period of heavy snow really is going to last through Wednesday with strong winds tonight and Tuesday.
All right, so now let's switch that and talk about strong winds, because down here, I know here on the North Olympic Peninsula, right along the Strait of Juan de Fuca, we've got a wind advisory up for kind of the next, like most of Tuesday, I guess is a good way to put it. Tell us about what we might expect there. Some 58-mile-an-hour gusts at times?
That's right. So the unique thing with this is actually we're looking at 2 rounds of gusty winds developing overnight tonight, this evening, and later tonight. We're looking at southwesterly winds ahead of the storm system. This is pretty typical, where we see southerly winds increasing before a storm comes in. So that's going to give some elevated wind gusts, 35 to 45 miles an hour in some locations. Not all locations are going to see those southerlies. So I think if you're in the further east you are, along the Strait of Juan de Fuca, that's where you'll see the southerlies. So places like Port Townsend, anywhere near Admiralty Inlet, that kind of area will see those southerlies overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Places like Port Angeles, so if you're further west, you're not going to see those southerlies. And I mentioned there's 2 rounds. When the storm system comes through tomorrow, that's where we'll start to see those west-northwesterlies coming behind the front as it comes through. And so it's kind of a 1-2 punch for some locations. So I would say if you're in Port Angeles, that's where we'll see those winds pick up later tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, and we certainly will feel those southerlies. We get a little shield from the mountains usually, but not when they're coming right out of the west to us. That's for certain.
That's right.
Okay.
And of course, Port Townsend will get those westerlies as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll get the 1-2 there.
So let's talk about the cold air then that's coming in, especially as we head to later into the week. And I think most people are wondering 2 things, and this is you probably are still wondering it: how cold, how much snow.
So right now, there's a fair amount of uncertainty, especially with things like snow and precipitation. But there's, even in terms of temperatures, we're expecting a wide range of potential temperatures, and there's some uncertainty in how cold, but we are expecting it to be definitely below normal. So we're looking at temperatures probably in some locations. I want to find the specific information here, but some locations, high temperatures could be down into the 20s. For some locations, let me find, I apologize. For temperatures, it's going to be significantly cooler than normal. I think there's still some uncertainty in how much colder than normal we're looking at. Right now, the most likely forecast for high temperatures in the Port Townsend area and in general the whole northern Olympic Peninsula, as we'll see high temperatures near normal in the low 40s, cooling off to probably Friday looks like to be the first cool day, and we could see high temperatures in the mid-20s for many locations. It's possible that we could see colder temperatures than that. Certainly overnight lows, those could be even cooler, with overnight lows starting Friday night into Saturday morning, dipping down into the teens in some locations, including Port Angeles, a little warmer maybe in Port Townsend, in the upper teens, maybe low 20s. That's the most likely scenario at this point. It is possible that we could see even cooler temperatures than that, and that's something that we're keeping an eye on. That's pretty significant for our area this time of year, and it looks like that's going to extend through the weekend, possibly into Monday. And so the impacts associated with that would be, folks that are have to be outside, that can't take shelter. That's significant. Animals that are outside, pipes potentially freezing. Those are the kind of impacts that we're concerned about with this level of cold air.
All right, so the warning is we've got a couple of days, but let's get ready for it because by the time we get to the end of the weekend, that's really when the cold gets here. One thing I was curious, and Kirby, you know how it works around here. We get that straight effect snow sometimes when we get a Fraser outflow. What are you thinking that's going to set up? Because that sometimes will get dumped on here in the Port Angeles area when the rest of Western Washington doesn't really get a lot of snow.
That's absolutely the scenario that we're looking at with, whenever we get cold air like this, we have to have Fraser outflow. And when that happens, the normally relatively dry part of the Olympic Peninsula from Port Angeles over to Port Townsend becomes upslope, and that's where you guys get more snow than anybody else, and that's in the realm of possibility with this event. Certainly you'll have the northeasterly winds that are going to be keeping that area cold. The big question is precipitation. So we've got to have some sort of precipitation falling into that cold air, and there's a relative amount of uncertainty associated with that, but it is certainly something that we're watching.
All right, before I let you go, I have to ask you this in a bigger thing. Being a meteorologist trying to predict weather in the Pacific Northwest is a challenge, and this has got to be kind of one of those examples, correct? I mean, when you talk with your compadres across the National Weather Service and other bureaus, I'm sure maybe they're envious of you, maybe they're not, when it comes to trying to predict especially winter weather in the Pacific Northwest.
It's always a challenge, but it's important, and we have a lot of tools that help us do it, and so it's something that we enjoy, and we want to make sure everybody has the most up-to-date information so they make good decisions. So it can be challenging, but it's also rewarding.
That's Kirby Cook from the National Weather Service office in Seattle with a bit of a look as to what to expect over the next week or so with this first blast of winter coming into Western Washington.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
At Olympic Peninsula Title, old-fashioned customer service never goes out of style. We've been closing real estate transactions in Clallam County for 40 years and have earned the repeat business of our customers. We treat people with respect, do what we say, put the security of our customers' funds and information as priority number one, and always provide service with a smile. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title. See why we've been voted best title company in Clallam County over and over again. Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Welcome back to the program. There's a new term being used by law enforcement across the country, and it typically involves a foreign victim. They're unsuspecting and fearful of going to the police for help. ABC's Derek Dennis has the story of a so-called cyber kidnapping in Utah and the lessons learned.
Imagine you're a parent in a foreign country a world away, and you get a call from a stranger claiming to be holding your son or daughter, a young high school exchange student living in the U.S., hostage, demanding you not go to the police, but threatening your child's life unless you pay a ransom. And it looks and sounds real, backed up by cell phone pictures and videos of the student isolated, in distress, pleading for help, but too afraid to simply call 911 himself.
He's in a different culture, a different language, and he may have been fearful to go to the police.
Jennifer is a mom in Utah where this real-life story unfolded. She followed the case closely because she has an exchange student of her own.
To be in these parent situation, to be, so fearful of what has happened with our son, and we're not sure, has he really been kidnapped? They're asking for this ransom. Do I pay it to save my son? I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Police call it a cyber kidnapping. They say it's when a victim, likely not fluent in English, is convinced to self-isolate after being told their own family outside of the country is in danger. This student taking pictures and videos of himself camping out in hiding at the direction of criminals who are operating entirely online or over the phone, preying on him because of his age and that he's of Chinese descent with a language barrier.
He's a 17-year-old male, and he speaks broken English. He had a sleeping bag, one of those tinfoil heat blankets, a couple cell phones that we believe were used to kind of carry out and monitor this cyber kidnapping.
Riverdale, Utah Police Chief Casey Warren says at the same time the parents, also non-English speaking, were being told also over the phone the same thing, that their child is the one in danger and the only way to save him, pay up, in this case $80,000, wired electronically, with only the school, not the police, immediately contacted.
The parents reported to school officials that they received a photograph of their child that would indicate he was abducted, and they requested a ransom.
Police were then called, but it was too late. The student was in hiding, away from his host family, communicating only with the cyber kidnappers, and the ransom money had already been wired.
That they were able to wreak that much havoc just through manipulation alone is horrible.
Brandon Amaker, a cybersecurity expert and instructor at Utah Valley University, says it's an elaborate scheme that's been done before, specifically targeting foreign victims.
Actors are able to manipulate both a victim and their family into believing that something has happened to the victim. They are likely targeting people who are very out of their element, people who are new in a new country, new environment where they're very unfamiliar with law enforcement, they're very unfamiliar culturally.
3 days of searching in a wooded area, and the student was found camping out, cold and alone. Chief Warren detailing the rescue, the student's pictures and videos showing the scenery that investigators were finally able to match.
One of the first things he wanted to do was contact his family in China to make sure they were okay. Question is well, why would he isolate himself? Well, that is exactly the reason. The captors want him to isolate himself from all society because they know there's a high probability the police or law enforcement will be contacted. So the reason why they have him seclude himself in the woods or away from everybody in society, is so they can continue to extort as much money as possible.
The lessons here, so many, say cybersecurity experts. Host families need to keep a close eye on young exchange students and their social media interactions. Police have to be called at the first sign of a threat, and foreign exchange families need to be aware that they can easily become victims of a scam.
I think it is important that we talk to our children before they leave to be a foreign exchange student or to be a missionary somewhere else around the world, that we tell them that this is a possibility, and just because somebody contacts you online doesn't mean it's real.
Experts also say oftentimes when the communication stops, the threat stops. So in a case like this, ending the communication and calling the police would have been the best exchange of all.
Well, the new year brings new laws, and ABC's Jim Ryan has a look at some of the fledgling statutes that took effect as of the first of the year.
In about half the states, both Republican and Democrat, one argument seemed to win out.
No person working a full-time job should be struggling to survive.
And millions of Americans awoke New Year's morning to a pay raise. Hawaiian workers are getting the largest increase after the state boosted its salary floor from $12 to $14 an hour. Washington state will continue to have the highest minimum wage in the country at $16.28 an hour, up from $15.74 before Monday. It's welcome news to Mark Terry, who lives south of Seattle.
Some of us having to travel long distances to make $17 an hour.
Some Washington state business owners say the new higher minimum wage will cut into their profits and their ability to hire new staff. King County Councilmember Rod Dembowski insists
this investment in workers is an investment in our economy and is an investment in opportunity.
Meanwhile, 1,300 miles away,
it's officially the law of Colorado.
A bill that Colorado Governor Jared Polis signed into law took effect, banning firearms built at home, often with a 3D printer, never with a serial number, so-called ghost guns.
This is a very significant bill.
State Senator Rhonda Fields was a sponsor of the legislation and says it hits close to home for her.
I know the pain and the trauma that's caused by gun violence.
Her 21-year-old son was shot to death in 2005.
Since that time, I've been an advocate and a champion for crime victims and trying to do all I can to reduce gun violence in our communities.
In a state where mass shootings have claimed dozens of lives, including 15 at Columbine High School, Fields says changes in gun laws were a long time in coming.
It has a lot to do with the spirit of Colorado. There's a sense that the community wants to do something.
At the moment that the law took effect, several Second Amendment groups filed a federal lawsuit against Colorado's ghost gun ban, insisting that, quote, the right to keep and bear arms implies the right to manufacture arms. Guns were also the target of lawmakers in Illinois, who met to consider a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
34 vote yea, 20 vote nay, 0 vote present.
And voted to pass it. Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Why do we allow anyone to easily purchase a rapid-fire, high-capacity weapon that can kill dozens of unarmed people in under a minute?
The law does allow people who already owned assault weapons to keep them if the guns are registered. But some Republicans in the Illinois General Assembly have promised to lead a legal fight against the new statute.
You also must know that I and millions of other gun owners in this state will not comply.
Also from Illinois, the fuzzy dice law. Now, to be clear, it is illegal to hang anything from the rearview mirror if it obstructs the driver's view of pedestrians, says Illinois State Trooper Tracy Lillard.
Anybody that's out there might be in your view for a second, and then they disappear out of view behind a mask or a air freshener or anything that's hanging from your mirror.
But some in the land of Lincoln had complained that police were profiling motorists and using objects like fuzzy dice to stop them. As of Monday, an object hanging from a rearview mirror is not probable cause for a police stop.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Buying locally doesn't always mean paying more. At McCrory Carpet One, they're a part of a cooperative that bands together over 1,000 family businesses just like them to form the largest floor buying group in America. Together, they buy over $7 billion in flooring. That means not only do you get the best prices and quality installation, but you help support local jobs and families. For over 60 years, always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
It's time for Your Port of PA Today. A look inside the port and share what's in it for you.
This is Paul Jarkowitz, Executive Director for the Port of Port Angeles.
We've had a fun and dynamic 2023 celebrating the Port Centennial, and we're so happy that many of you in the community have been able to come out and join us in this past year's events. From June's Maritime Festival to the 4th of July festivities that features the visit of the USS Momsen, it's been great having you there to be part of the celebration and to be able to show you around your port. After 100 years, the port continues to bring people, resources, and industry together to foster living wage jobs and to further the prosperity of Clallam County for the next 100 years. For more information and to keep track of upcoming events, email hello@portofpa.com or keep up to date on our Facebook page. And thanks for being part of our celebration.
Did you know that hot water accounts for 15 to 20% of your electric energy use? Hi, this is Clallam PUD. Let's talk about heat pump water heaters, or hybrid water heaters. A heat pump water heater uses fans and an evaporator to efficiently extract warmth from the surrounding air, saving you up to 60% on your electric water heating costs. The PUD currently has an instant rebate of up to $900 when using a participating installer, or $600 if you're installing it on your own. Plus, the federal government is offering a $2,000 tax credit. Visit clallampud.net for more information.
In our final segment this past week, there was another huge Powerball winner. Somebody in Michigan taking home $842 million before taxes. Now, you would think that would be a great thing for the winner. But there is a perception out there that things don't end well for those who hit the big jackpot. USA Today recently published an article titled Lotto Regret, the Pitfalls of Powerball. Yahoo Finance published one called Why Lotto Winners Go Bankrupt, and CNBC's offering what's called Why Lottery Winners Go Broke. Do they, though? Really? John Jennings is a financial planner from St. Louis who works with high-wealth families. He recently wrote his own article in Forbes totally debunking all of that. So ABC's Sherry Preston called him up to ask him about it.
You know, I'd always been under the impression that if you won the lottery, especially a lot of money, that it would ruin your life. Like, this is something as a financial professional that I was pretty confident about.
And then you found out when you actually started digging into the research that that's not the case at all.
Yeah, that's not the case at all. And, you know, at first I was like, well, why is it that we believe this? And, you know, one reason is media reports will highlight bankrupt or even worse tragic situations of people that have won a lot of money in the lottery. And it's because it gets eyeballs on pages. It sells to have these stories. And I think that psychologically, I think we'd all, you know, are drawn to the idea that money doesn't buy happiness. And the idea that somebody wins a lot of money and it ruins their life is like oddly, you know, compelling to us. So there's all these media reports. There's a host of other studies out there. And in my article, I cite two of them that are very well designed. One uses data in Germany and one out of Sweden that found that no, you know, years after winning the lottery, people tend to have a bit more happiness and a bit more life satisfaction.
When you talk about winning a lottery, it's for a lot of people, it's such a huge lifestyle change that everybody just assumes, well, if you won $800 million in the Powerball, like somebody in Michigan did this week, is not only going to change your life, but you're going to do some kind of crazy, maybe stupid things with it.
You know, they're typically, the winnings are, you know, tens of thousands up to, you know, single digit millions. There isn't a study out there that I know of that's looked at, you know, Powerball and Mega Millions winners. So as much as, you know, the conclusion is that the lottery doesn't ruin your life, you know, I think winning a lot of money or becoming fabulously wealthy does add some risk. Like if you use the money well, I think it can really add to your life. But as you point out, if you spend it on, you know, stupid things and squander it or you know, become very materialistic or use it destructively with respect to your lifestyle, it could be horrible.
Okay. Well, John Jennings, thank you so much. Appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah. Really enjoyed the conversation. Appreciate it.
As we entered the new year, one of the most famous cartoon characters of all time entered the public domain. The earliest versions of Mickey Mouse, the symbol of the Walt Disney Company, is now a free agent. And while some are already capitalizing on the change, there are rules and restrictions for how the mouse's likeness can be used. ABC News entertainment correspondent Jason Nathanson explains.
It seemed like almost the second that Mickey Mouse went into the public domain, there was a Mickey Mouse horror movie ready to go.
Gina, turn around, please, Gina!
The trailer for Mickey's Mousetrap hit the internet this week.
To me, it feels like a 90s sort of teen slashery movie whereby a bunch of kids who are celebrating a 21st birthday kind of have a lock-in party at an amusement arcade, like an old arcade. And whilst they're drinking and celebrating turning 21, a guy gets possessed by, a vintage copy of Steamboat Willie, which is seen in the movie, and he goes around killing people for teaching them a lesson about growing up.
That's the writer and star of the film.
I'm Simon Phillips, and I play Mickey in Mickey's Mousetrap.
So, why do you want to destroy the childhoods of so many people?
Wow. We're heading straight in, Jason. Yeah, okay, I love it.
And the reason Simon Phillips is able to use the likeness of Mickey Mouse in his horror movie is because in the U.S., copyrights expire after 95 years, at which point works go into the public domain. And that just happened to the short animated films that introduced the world to Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie, and Plain Crazy. But there are rules for any uses of Mickey Mouse in new material.
You cannot use copyright-eligible aspects of later Mickey, whether it's the dialogue or the plot or the aggregate of how Mickey looks, for example, in Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Jennifer Jenkins runs the Center for the Study of the Public Domain at Duke Law School. She says the only Mickey Mouse in play right now is the original 1928 Mickey Mouse, which is a lot different from the modern Mickey Mouse. Simon Phillips swears they followed the rules in Mickey's Mousetrap.
Oh, Mickey Mouse is black and white, and he has no eyebrows, and he has big black eyes like the original Steamboat Willie. He doesn't wear white gloves like later versions. So we tried to keep it very safe, operate within the lines that we were given.
He says they had a lawyer look at it, and everything's good. And it's not like Phillips is the first person to do something like this. He told me they actually got the idea after the same thing happened to Winnie the Pooh last year. The character went into the public domain, and the first thing someone did was make a horror movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Christopher, we need to leave.
But Phillips says they wanted to be extra cautious, even going so far as to make sure Mickey didn't speak in his film, because Mickey doesn't speak in the original films. Though Jennifer Jenkins from Duke University says there are certain things you can't copyright.
Having an anthropomorphic mouse that it can actually speak and, maybe in a high-pitched voice, because what is a mouse going to sound like? Barry White? See, that's not copyrightable. So,
but what if Simon Phillips hadn't done something in the horror genre? What if he would have made a family-friendly cartoon version of Mickey Mouse? Jenkins says that would have also been okay.
What are the limitations on what people can't? A scary movie, obviously, that's not going to be connected with the Disney brand. That's kind of a no-brainer.
But it can't, you can do something cute and cuddly.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If somebody wanted to put out like what if Max wanted to put out a Mickey Mouse cartoon series?
As long as it's very clear that it's from Max, okay? And not from Disney.
So as long as they slap on a disclaimer, they should be good to go. But Jenkins also says that while the copyright has expired, the trademark has not. And that's the 800-pound mouse in the room.
Disney still has trademark rights in using those characters as logos. So it's super different from copyright, using them as brand identifiers. And so if I start selling my Steamboat Willie merchandise and someone seeing that character on my shirt thinks, oh, I'm getting an official Disney licensed product, and they're not, then that's a trademark problem. And trademark law, Disney can use trademark rights to prevent me from doing that if consumers are going to be duped into thinking they're getting a Disney product when they're not.
And while Mickey Mouse entering the public domain might seem like a loss for Disney, or at the very least, a little bit of loss of control of their most famous character, Jenkins points out that Disney and fans of animation and storytelling have greatly benefited from stories and characters entering the public domain.
Think about all your favorite Disney films. Think about Hunchback of Notre Dame, Cinderella, Frozen, Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King was based on Hamlet. Like, all of these were based on, sometimes extensively based on, other times not. Public domain works. This is what we want people who are really talented and cuddly to do with public domain work. So, Disney's beloved movies are one of the best arguments in favor of why we have the public domain.
As for what Disney thinks about all this, the company didn't have anything new to say specifically about Simon Phillips' movie or any other Mickey Mouse-based stuff in the works. But in a statement before the copyright expiration, it said that ever since Mickey Mouse's first appearance in 1928's Steamboat Willie, people have associated the character with Disney's stories, experiences, and authentic products, and that has not changed with the expiration of the copyright. As for Mickey's Mousetrap, Simon Phillips is working on getting it into theaters and says after all of the headlines this week, some festivals might be interested. So we might be able to see it in the next few months.
I hope Disney don't take offense at this. This would be like, honestly, I wouldn't like to get into a fight with Disney about this. I love Mickey Mouse. I won't allow a narrative to like develop or to go, well, this is a bit of an anti-Disney thing. I was like, not at all. This is an homage to Disney.
Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
At Straight View Credit Union, we believe that fast, flexible loan decisions are key to helping our members achieve their financial goals. That's why we're proud to offer a streamlined loan application process that takes place entirely in-house. All loan decisions are made locally, right here in our building, by our experienced lending team. This means that we can typically approve loans within 1 to 2 days, so you can get the funds you need quickly and efficiently. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we're committed to putting your needs first and providing personalized service that helps you achieve your financial goals. So, whether you're looking to purchase a new car, purchase a new home, make home improvements, or consolidate debt, we've got you covered. Visit us online at svcu.com or stop by our branch on Lincoln Street in Port Angeles to apply for your loan today. Straight View Credit Union. Fast, flexible loan decisions to help you reach your financial goals. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Enjoy all the colors of the season. Your enjoyment starts now with help from Airport Garden Center. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The Matthews family are still loving storekeepers to this day. Their family is dedicated to providing your family quality service and products for a fun, rewarding pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Are you looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items such as Full Moon candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted